Hey, what's up everyone? I meant to make a video regarding this earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and do this now. So, if you've been following the news regarding the current talks between the United States and Iran, I don't know if I would call them talks or not, but there's been tension, so to speak, regarding this so-called quote-unquote nuclear deal, which the previous administration put into place, and it was not a very good deal. It told them they could not use their nuclear program. Basically, they're not allowed to use any sort of a nuclear program for up to 10 years. That leaves us 7 years under that current deal. They're supposed to sign it. They have until next weekend, next Saturday, to sign it, to sign that nuclear deal, to either reinstate it and continue it for 7 more years or end it altogether and pull out of this deal. And President Trump stated on Twitter that as of 9 hours ago that he will be announcing his decision on the Iran deal tomorrow from the White House at 2 p.m. So you can check that out. So be aware that tomorrow at 2 p.m. President Trump will be speaking and announcing his Iran deal, his announcement and decision on the Iran deal tomorrow from the White House. That's at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, May 8th, 2018. So we'll see what happens regarding that. I know there's a lot of tension, a lot of talks, a lot of arguments, and a lot of stuff taking place. But the previous administration that wrote this deal out, so to speak, they told them they had 92 hours to create some sort of a deal, or I mean, it might have been 90 hours or 72 hours, something like that. It was a certain amount of hours that was just a short period of time, but yet it gave them plenty of time to get rid of all of their nuclear material and nuclear weapons for the time for an inspection to take place. So then the EU, the UN, they had the United Nations go in there with their vehicles and check to see if Iran had any nuclear materials and nuclear weapons. So then they went in with their vehicles, searched, and found no evidence of nuclear weapons. But of course, if you give someone 72 to 90 hours or whatever to get rid of their weapons and tell them ahead of time, that's what the previous administration did. He stated, I'm going to give them a certain amount of hours to, I'm going to tell you ahead of time, I'm going in there. We're going in there to check for any type of nuclear materials or nuclear weapons. We're going to go in there in a certain amount of hours, check to see if you have any weapons. Basically telling them you have this much time to get rid of all the evidence so that we can say that you don't have any weapons and any nuclear materials. Basically, that's what he did. I remembered seeing it when it happened. It was all over the internet and all over the news. So they got rid of their weapons. They found no evidence when they went in there. When the United Nations went in there with their vehicles, checked it out, found no evidence. So this basically gave them 10 years. They were not allowed to use nuclear weapons or nuclear materials, basically. They were not allowed to obtain any type of nuclear material that could even lead to weapons for at least 10 years. So that gives us 7 more years under that current document that they're not allowed to do it. But Israel sent someone in and found some kind of a secret, basically a secret agent, in there. Both countries were spying on each other, Iran and Israel, and found that Iran had nuclear weapons and nuclear materials capable of producing nuclear weapons. And this was from on Reuters News, the Jerusalem Post, and all over the news. They stated that Iran had materials capable of producing a nuclear weapon, and they have nuclear weapons as well. So Iran, Rouhani of Iran stated, well, Israel's lying, but then he said, but you also have nuclear weapons. And then President Trump stated that Iran does have nuclear weapons and nuclear material. They've been violating this nuclear deal anyway all this time, and so it was disastrous to begin with because they violated the deal anyway. And what's 10 years? You give them 10 years not to make nuclear weapons and then, or nuclear materials, and not to use their facility, then suddenly they can use it? I mean, that's just putting something off instead of dealing with the problem at hand right then. So that's basically what they did. Sort of just catering to them, and that's pretty much what they did. The previous administration did. But anyway, aside from that, what I was stating was, back to what I was stating a moment ago, they found, Iran supposedly found nuclear material and weapons capable of destruction in Israel, supposedly, but Israel said they needed them to protect themselves from these other crazy people around them. And obviously, yes, you need weapons of equal power to protect yourself against weapons of equal or greater, potentially greater power. So you have to protect yourself you have to have people with weapons to protect themselves against the bad people with weapons. So Israel needs protection against the people. You can't tell Israel don't have any weapons while the rest of them does what they want to do surrounding them. That wouldn't work. Then they'd have nothing to protect themselves with. So that's basically, Trump said, until you get rid of your nuclear weapons and nuclear materials and agree to no longer use weapons like the Koreas have claimed to do, which we'll see how that goes, then Israel is allowed to have nuclear weapons and nuclear materials for protection. You can have weapons. They're allowed to have weapons to protect themselves from the people with weapons, basically. That's basically what Trump was stating. Israel needs weapons to protect themselves against the other crazy people with weapons. And until they agree to denuclearize the entire Middle East, Israel has to have weapons to protect themselves. That's basically what Trump stated. But he will make his official announcement of whether he's going to pull out of the deal altogether, that so-called, quote-unquote, nuclear deal with Iran that the previous administration has stated. He's either going to continue it, tweak it a little bit, or pull out of it altogether. And I just wanted to state that he'll announce that tomorrow, May 8th, 2018 at 2 p.m. So from the White House. So that was announced on Twitter earlier. So much love. Let me know what you think. And that's the latest news regarding the nuclear deal and Trump's announcement. So the president will announce it tomorrow. Peace and much love. Bye.